Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be giving a full review of the Lies of P Overture DLC. This is a prequel to the acclaimed action RPG game Lies of P that came out in September of 2023. I'm a massive fan of the original game and put in about 300 hours and with 6 full playthroughs, so you could say I was pretty excited when this DLC was announced a few months ago. They ended up shadow dropping this DLC on us randomly, and I downloaded it right away. If you love boss fights and like a good challenge, then this definitely is the game for you. This DLC focuses primarily on things that made the base game so good in the first place, and as far as the story goes, it takes place in the late 19th century and transports you to the city of Krat, specifically in the Belle Epoque era. Basically, it's when the city of Krat was in its final days of haunting, and this prequel takes place before the city of Krat was taken over by puppets. It shows the main events that led up to what happened in the main game. You play as the same protagonist in the base game, which is Pinocchio, and Pinocchio is a puppet that was created by Geppetto. Leah Florence Monad is also a key character in this DLC. She is known as the legendary Stalker, and she is the daughter of Valentinus, which was a former leader of the Alchemists. And not to get too deep into it, but the Alchemists are one of the 3 ruling factions in the city of Krat. They are depicted as a group of highly intelligent individuals who delved into the mysteries of Ergo, the city's power source, and were instrumental in Krat's development. And Leah, the legendary Stalker's story, is definitely central to the DLC's plot. The story revolves around the character you play, Pinocchio, and your sidekick, Gemini, and you are following Leah as she searches for her partner, Romeo, and confronts Arlecchino. Leah's quest to search for Romeo and confronting Arlecchino drives most of the DLC story, and the great part of this game, even if you don't pay too much attention to the dialogue, you will still be able to follow the story on your own. The main mission in the story is to explore the past and uncover its dark secrets, and it's roughly a 12 to 15 hour journey depending on if you're a completionist or not. It took me around 14 hours to get all of the items, bosses, and quests done in this DLC, and it's very much a linear game like the previous one, and you meet all sorts of new NPCs and discover new things about the story along the way, and face some very difficult battles. As far as gameplay goes, it's peak Lies of P. It does not get any better than this. If you're a fan of the original game, you will absolutely love this DLC. It does have some challenging moments in it, and some moments can make you want to give up, but that's the best part about this game in my opinion, and if you're just going off of new game and into the DLC, you won't have too hard of a time with the enemies. There now have 3 different difficulties that you can choose from now to accommodate for all types of players. The 3 difficulties are Butterfly's Guidance, which is very easy, Awakened Puppet, which is easy, and Legendary Stalker is normal. There's definitely some things to consider when choosing your difficulty though, because depending on what new game you're on, will also make the enemies that much harder. Ops after New Game Plus 3, but having completely maxed out health stat and being on Legendary Stalker difficulty and being on New Game Plus 6, the game was so unforgiving. I couldn't get past some of the bigger enemies without dying in 2 hits. And keep in mind, my health bar is halfway across the screen, and this made no difference. I love challenging games like this, though. I absolutely love them, but this was hard. Going into the zoo, which is the first area you come across in this DLC, you come across the mutant carcass gorillas. And the big ones are really the only ones you need to worry about. The small ones aren't too bad, but you will come across quite a few of these in the beginning of the DLC. Also, you'll come across kangaroos that'll beat the living crap out of you, and they hit like trucks, especially the big ones. They are very intimidating enemies in this game. I mean, any big enemy is going to be intimidating in general, but especially the elephants in this game. The elephants can be a little bit gnarly, and there's one that you come across that mutates into something that looks like out of The Thing, a movie, and this guy took me so many tries to beat, at least 20 tries. He keeps inflicting freeze on you, and he hits so damn hard. My favorite area in the game, though, is the Carnival Gardens. This area is so cool. And this carnival you'll come across in the first chapter. It's pretty early on in the game. There's so many intriguing things that you could do in this area. There's little mini games that you can play, and there's a bunch of them throughout the whole area. And if you go around and you collect these tokens that you can get, you can use the tokens to play little mini games, and some of them you get weapons, or some of you get random items, and one of them you also end up like fighting a very tough enemy in one of them. So there is a Ferris wheel that you can also ride on, and it's just a very enjoyable experience in the game. I just love enjoying the mechanics and the environment of this game while also getting my butt kicked by enemies and bosses. Overall, the gameplay is great. They didn't change anything as far as the mechanics go, and the game is still a very parry-heavy experience. If you played Sekiro or the most recent, the first Berserker, Kazan, then you'll be familiar with this parry system in this game. You are able to dodge, but parrying just becomes second nature in this game, and there is a new status effect as well that wasn't in the base game, which is freeze. And when freeze is inflicted on you, it causes your health to drain and it makes you move a lot slower. And there is consumables that you can use to cure it, which are pretty rare to come by. And there is amulets that you can find as well that you will come across that help resistance against it. As far as weapons go, they did add some pretty cool new weapons, and the first one I loved was the Royal Horn Bow, and this is the first time they've added a bow in Lies of P, and it was so much fun being able to hit enemies from afar, especially in areas that I'm getting overrun with enemies. This made it one of the best weapons. Also has some very fun special attacks with it as well, and there was a handful of other really cool weapons as well, such as the Lorenzini Bolt. This thrusting weapon has some really cool moves. The Charge R2 has a rocket-type charge attack that blasts you and the weapon towards the enemy. It has a lot of potential to stagger enemies and be one of the better weapons in the DLC. Another weapon I had a lot of fun with was the Death Talons. And these dual-handing weapons are so much fun. And they can be unlocked about mid-game, maybe. The Fable attack gives you an extremely fast slashing attack that is so much fun. I'd highly recommend this weapon. And there's not a huge amount of weapons in this DLC, but the ones they do add are all very fun. And in the DLC, you are still able to upgrade your character by defeating enemies and getting Ergo, which is the currency to upgrade your stats. And the new hub in the DLC is the same as the previous, except this place is called the Eventide Hotel Krat. And when before it was just called Hotel Krat. This new hub is a version of the Hotel Krat that exists before the events of the base game. As you progress through the game and finish Chapter 1, you will find your way to the hub. And as far as new NPCs go, there's not many in the Eventide Hotel Krat compared to the regular Hotel Krat in the base game. There is a merchant that you can trade ancient discs, which are items you come across in the game, to get items like amulets, records, and Ergo, and he will be who you will go to for trading in special boss Ergos to choose between the boss weapon or an amulet. And as you progress through the game, there will be an NPC who you will come across as well, who will be the person who helps you decode the cipher machine quests, just like Benini did in the base game. There is a handful of quests with NPCs throughout the game that will keep you busy, having to backtrack and earn items for finishing the quest. Another convenient thing, if you're at a Stargazer and rest point, you can fast travel back to the base game if you need to buy certain things or you haven't gotten the opportunity to upgrade your weapon, or for any reason in general. One of the only issues that I have with the game is that it doesn't have a pause button, which I understand because a lot of Souls-likes don't have them. So if you're playing the game, you gotta stay locked in or go to your nearest Stargazer rest point to take a break. And that's technically the only game pause you come across. Other than that, I didn't have any reasons to not like it. I did struggle a lot with New Game Plus 6 and on Legendary Stalker difficulty. But if you're like me, then you will love the challenge it gives you, and it makes it so much more rewarding when you defeat a boss. And speaking of bosses, the bosses in this game are so much fun and very challenging. I'm not going to give too many spoilers, but even the optional bosses you come across in this game can be super challenging. The first optional boss you come across is the Tyrannical Predator, and this boss gave me a lot of trouble. He's basically a giant zombie alligator that is very aggressive, and his attacks require quick dodging or parrying, and he hits like a damn truck. Pretty much like most big enemies in this game too. It took me a bit to figure out how to fight this boss and what its weaknesses are, and I started off by maxing out my throwables over in the base game so I could avoid closing the gap between me and this boss, which is honestly impossible. This was a very good boss to get you warmed up for the DLC, considering most of us it's been a bit since we played the game. Being on the hardest difficulty, it's necessary to have your weapon at plus 10 or at least close to it, or plus 4 if it's a special weapon. That way you're doing the most amount of damage possible. The bosses in this game are a lot more challenging than in the base game, in my opinion. Some of the bosses took me over 20 tries to beat. There is a total of 8 bosses in this DLC, and all of them are a very, very fun experience. None of them are boring or easy, and they're always keeping you on your toes. As far as the graphics go in this game, they are very, very good. The visuals feel so polished and visually stunning, and it has such a well-executed art style that is unlike any other game in my opinion. I'm using a fairly average computer, which is an RTX 4060 with an AMD Ryzen 5 5600 6-core processor. Overall, things look great for me, and I experienced very little bugs, glitching, or stuttering, and no crashes whatsoever. The game played very, very smoothly. Overall, this DLC is great, honestly, and for $30 and at 12 to 15 hours of gameplay, I would say it's worth it. If I'm being honest, there's not a whole lot of replay value in this DLC. I feel like most people will probably play it once, maybe twice, and probably won't come back to it again, but honestly, that's expected in this type of game. There is a lot of secrets and hidden lore, and there's now a boss rush mode, which comes with an update to Liza P, and it makes it much more reasonable for the price that it's at. Also considering that the base game is sometimes on sale for $30, I was able to get the base game on Xbox PC Game Pass for $30, and the DLC for $30 as well. And getting both for $60 makes it a lot more reasonable, but I understand that's not the case for everyone. This DLC delivers a very, very well put together story that will keep you entertained, wanting more the whole time. Though it can be very challenging, I think it's perfect for fans of the original game and games that give you a good struggle. It's hard to say whether or not that I like it better than the base game, because without the base game, there wouldn't be this DLC. But overall, I like it just as much as the original, and there is some small things that I like more about it, about the DLC than the original. But this game will be a challenge for most, but so much fun as you progress through it. My honest rating would be an 8.5 out of 10, but that is going to wrap things up right there for the video. This is my second review I've ever done, so I am a little bit new to these, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I mean, what more can you want with someone's honest opinion? But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys on the next one. Thanks.